Steeler Nation, welcome back to the Steel Curtain Network and this episode of the Steelers Q&A. My name is Jeremy Betts. I've got Archie Wilson here with me again this week, and we're going to break down all things Pittsburgh Steelers. We're going to talk to you guys, so get your comments in on YouTube, Facebook, X, wherever you're listening in from. We appreciate it. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Go in and like and subscribe. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. And then make sure you're following us on socials at Steel Curtain Network, or I'm sorry, it's at Steel C Network on X. And then I believe on Facebook as well. So you can check us out at each of those locations. Archie, we're going to talk some Steelers. We're going to, coming off the Bengals loss and heading into this Sunday Night Football showdown here against the Packers. How's the vibe for you for the Pittsburgh Steelers right now?
Well, I'm not the same as some other fans that you get one loss and then the world's falling down. But I'm feeling pretty good about this week. I mean, last time I was on the show, we went into a win. So hopefully we can turn the tide here a little bit. Coming back on here.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Good luck. If you end up being a good luck charm, you're coming on every week.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
we'll see.
Yeah, we have to test it a couple times, so I'll have you on this week. If the Steelers beat Green Bay, then I'll have to have somebody on next week just to see. Just to see. And then if we lose, then you're on the rest of the year. That's how it's going to go.
Know the recipe. Yeah, for sure.
So let me ask you this, because we've done a few podcasts together and everything, but are you a superstitious type sports fan? Do you wear the same thing, or do you have the same routine? Do you care about like the jinxes and the hoaxes and all that good stuff?
No. So not a fan or as a player in any of the sports I play. I'm pretty easygoing when it comes to that stuff. I used to be, for sure, especially with Steelers games. I used to have specific jerseys I would wear, but then I kind of fell into the realization I didn't really have too much control over the game. So whatever I roll out of bed at 6 a.m. for the early games that the Steelers play, that's kind of what I'm wearing.
Yeah, I think it makes people mad when you get on a show like this and you say something like, if Aaron Rodgers has the game we think he's going to have against the Packers, the revenge factor, and he can stay on the field, he doesn't get hurt or something like that. If you don't caveat that with like, oh, knock on wood, or God forbid, or something like that, then people get all up in arms about what you're saying on here. And I'm like, you know what? My words do not have any impact on what Aaron Rodgers is doing at that, 450, 500 miles away from me. So I think that I'll be good. Just saying whatever I want to. Right. And then we'll let what happens. So let's talk about the Steelers here while we wait on some comments and questions here. And we got a few of the regulars in. Appreciate you guys. Give us your questions. Give us your thoughts for the game upcoming. Let's talk, Archie. Thursday Night Football disaster from a defensive perspective. You lose that game against an inferior Bengals team, and now everybody's like, are the Bengals that inferior to the Steelers? Are the Steelers really that good? And now they get a Packers team that this is one of those litmus test games, right? Or it should be. It's like the Steelers haven't beaten anybody, and then they roll into Thursday Night Football and get trounced on the defensive side of the ball by the Bengals. There's no way they beat the Packers. This, to me, just right off the top, feels like the game that Mike Tomlin comes in and says, what are you talking about? Home underdog? This is crazy. So I'm going to win this game. That's just kind of how I feel.
Yeah, I think the Thursday Night Football, we kind of spoke about it before pre-show. It's just a recipe for disaster under Mike Tomlin, and for a lot of teams when they're going away in general. But generally speaking, the Steelers do struggle when they don't have as much time to game plan, which is the case with Thursday night. But what you get on the back end of that is that now they've had 10 days or so to get ready for the Packers, and that's generally where Mike Tomlin gets his teams rearing to go. So you've got them coming off the back of quite frankly, an embarrassing loss in prime time in front of the country, in front of the world. 10 days, a bit more rest, more time to game plan, and they're playing in another primetime game at home against a historic franchise. I mean, it's all set up for a Mike Tomlin revenge game or a bounce back, if you get what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
And I do agree in terms of matchups. I think the Bengals, they have a bit of a recipe against the Steelers with Jamar Chase just being an all-world player, and then having Joe Flacco, who knows exactly how the Steelers like to defend, and he's also one of those quarterbacks that knows how to play buddy ball essentially, and just get the ball to Jamar Chase 20 plus times. So
Yeah.
I think there's a recipe for disaster there the whole time leading into the game, and credit to you, you've spoken about that for months now. So. Yeah, I feel a
Unfortunately.
bit more positive. Yeah, a bit more positive about this one against the Packers, even if they're not quite the same, even if they're a better caliber side, than the Bengals.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, every team goes through portions of their schedule that just don't agree with you from how you do things in the building to the types of players you have. And I think one of the things that hurts the Steelers is they're one of the older teams in the league. And on the defensive side of the ball specifically, they've got some older guys there, and the shorter week doesn't help them. Also, to your point, I think this is the big talking point for me all week here when it comes to the Packers is looking at the Bengals. Joe Flacco comes into that building and he says, this is how you beat this team. This is how you beat this defense. And we have the guys on the outside to do it because all we have to do is drop back 2 seconds and let me hit a slant to one of the two guys on the outside. Because, yeah, their guys are good on the outside, but they can't beat our guys man to man, and we can beat them fast that way. The Packers do not play like that. They just don't. Jordan Love does not like to get rid of the ball quickly. He wants to sit back in the pocket and big game hunt down the field. And if he does that in this game, the pass rush for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I believe, will get home. And if the pass rush is getting home, it changes the entire structure of who's dictating to who, offense or defense. And if the Steelers pass rush gets home to Jordan Love and they start dictating the game, it could end up being a long night for this Packers offense, in my opinion.
Yeah, so I think especially in the pass game, you're right. Without their two wide receivers that win quickly as well off the line, so they don't have those kind of outlets. And Dontavian Wicks, I believe, might be out for tomorrow or questionable. And then obviously
He's out.
Jaden Reed. Yep. And then Jaden Reed's obviously still on IR. So those are the kind of quick game options that the Packers have. So you're right. Jordan Love's going to sit back, pat the ball a few times, and try stretch the Steelers defense as much as possible. But I think the most worrying part will be the run defense. Can the run defense stop Josh Jacobs, essentially, who could take over this game if we see the kind of effort and execution in terms of filling gaps that we saw on Thursday Night Football. So that's the most important part of the game for me.
Yeah, I agree. This is a pretty straightforward game plan if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, in my opinion. It starts, number one, stop Josh Jacobs. And if you do that, you force the Packers into their drop back passing game where they're having to throw further than 8-10 yards down the field to get these first downs. And you start to get Jordan Love in a position where your guys can attack him. And now that's not to say that he can't beat you. He absolutely can. He can absolutely beat you down the field. And the wide receivers that he's going to have available in this game, Matthew Golden and Christian Watson, those are downfield threats. So you got to be sticky on the outside, and you can't let them get over top of you. And you got to watch out for Tucker Kraft in the middle of the field as well. But starting with the rush defense, I think, is where you have to in this game. And then when the Steelers are on offense, I think the scoring could be tough early in the game. Like, are they going to run up and down the field on the Packers defense? I don't think so. But I think that as the game wears on and some of the better parts of the Steelers offense that we've seen, the run games, the commitment to the run game and how it can just kind of grind away at a team. And then those DK Metcalf back shoulder shots and the yards after catch over the middle of the field. I think that Steelers offense, I feel even more confident about them really to keep doing a little bit of what they're doing, maybe not to the full extent that we've seen over the last few weeks. But I mean, let's put this in perspective too. Everybody's talking about how they kind of walked all over the Bengals defense. Well, they kind of did the same thing against the Browns defense, and everybody universally calls this Browns defense one of the best in the NFL. So the Steelers can get this done against the Packers defense.
Yeah, so it's basically the same game plan for the Steelers as what the Packers are going to be trying to do. You've got to stop the run for the Steelers and then force them to be one-dimensional and win downfield. So the question will be whether the difference in terms of game plan and personnel that the Steelers deploy in terms of having a bunch of tight ends and winning over the middle of the field will be crucial, in my opinion, especially against the secondary and the likes of Quay Walker, who might struggle a little bit in coverage. So, yeah, I think Pat Frymuth will be another one that could have a big game again today. Um, tomorrow, winning over the middle of the field, seeing a bit of Darnell Washington.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think the tight ends will be big, and hopefully, even if the run game's not working early doors, I'd like to see a bit of volume and just stick to it to see if the dam will eventually break. So, yeah.
Yep, absolutely. All right, we do have a couple questions. Steeler Chick 46. How many touchdowns for Rodgers this week? I was just looking it up. He's got 2 or more touchdown passes in 4 of 6 games so far, and 2 of those games have been 4 touchdown pass games. He has let's see. He has 14 touchdown passes on the season. And so I was going to, if I'm betting it this week, I'm betting 2 or more touchdowns for Rodgers. I think I'm having some technical difficulties on my end. Archie, can you hear me?
Potentially. Yeah, I got you now. Yeah, all good.
Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, my internet is a little laggy here. But we switched back to StreamYard for this one, and it's always been a little bit glitchy. So,
Right. Okay.
yeah. So hopefully it stops doing that. But anyway, I was saying that I think 2 touchdown passes for Aaron Rodgers here. I think the run game gets in a couple times as well. I when the article comes out tomorrow for the picks, I think the Steelers score 4 touchdowns in this game. I think they have a good game offensively, and I'm pretty excited about what could happen here.
Yeah, I like what you're thinking. I agree with the 4 touchdown sentiment. I think the Steelers' offense is going to roll a bit tomorrow, um, and kind of carry on that hot form that they've had. I think Aaron Rodgers has just been so transformative, especially in the low red zone. He's just been really just so, like you can't even describe how valuable he's been to this
Yeah.
offense, especially in those situations. So yeah, I'm with you 2+, but I'd kind of lean to 3. I think they enjoy putting the ball in his hands to make those decisions, especially within 5 yards or so. So I'll get 1 on the ground from whether it's Jalen Warren or Kenneth Gainwell, and then give me 3 in the air for Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, I like it. I like it. Um, I, like I said against the Browns, I think the Steelers are uniquely suited to stop or limit, I should say, some of these highly impactful edge defenders, edge rushers, like Myles Garrett, like Micah Parsons. And a lot of it goes back to Washington. It goes back to Darnell Washington and how he is utilized and just how good he is. I mean, in my opinion, you could one-on-one him versus some of these high level edge defenders and he'd be fine. Like he probably wins as many of those as Broderick Jones wins, in my opinion. So when you put both of those guys on the same side, and I know Micah Parsons rushes from the middle a little bit more than even Myles Garrett does, and Myles Garrett's not one to shy away from lining up over a guard. Parsons will do that all the time. The Steelers are gonna have to watch that, but their offensive game plan, get the ball out quick and have 2 or 3 tight ends on the field at any given time, it feels like it should be a good remedy for some of the pass rush that the Packers are going to try to throw at them.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, when you have 3 or 4 tight ends that you can deploy on the field, and you sometimes have 13 personnel out there, I mean, you've just got so many different kind of answers to what the Packers can throw you, because it's not just Micah Parsons. They've got Rashawn Gary on the other side, who's an awesome pass rusher in his own right. But the fact that you've got so many tight ends that can help out your young tackles. Darnell obviously being the kingpin at that. He's just outstanding. He looks like a tackle out there, and he's bigger than both Fautanu and Broderick. I'm pretty confident in saying that. So, but then you've got Jonnu Smith, Pat Frymouth, and Connor Hayward, who maybe they're not awesome blockers, but they're definitely willing to stick their face in the fan and throw a chip and things of that nature. So, yeah, I think you're right. The Steelers are set up to certainly nullify kind of explosive pass rushes with their identity that they've set up.
I think another fun thing about this game is that Calvin Austin is back, and you get kind of that vertical threat out of the slot now that none of the other guys were really providing for you while he was out. Even like Roman Wilson in his short time or short stints of playing, and Scotty Miller, Calvin Austin the third's back. You can stretch the field from the slot now. You can use him in motion. He gets to return punts, I would assume, again, now that he's back healthy. Those are some of the marginal things that I think the Steelers could really use this week against the Packers team.
Yeah, I think Calvin's obviously the clear second best receiver on this team, and that's not anything like it's not anything negative towards Roman Wilson. He looked good last week, I thought, when he had some opportunities. He made a few plays, but Calvin's just got the ability to not only win with his speed, but you've seen this year he's won a bit through contact, and he's won in contested catch situations. So he's got a bit of versatility. So yeah, big addition. And just the way he plays the game, he seems to pop up in big situations every now and again. And I especially remember him making a few big plays. Like I believe it was against the Raiders in prime time. He made that deep catch in prime time. That was a game-changing play. So he just seems to pop up at the right times, and that's something that you can't really teach, but some players have it. So it'll be exciting to have him back.
He's got plus odds on 40 plus receiving yards this week, and that feels like a fun bet for me, because all it takes with him is one catch, and he could have that 40 yards right there. So I think that's fun. I think that's a good bet for this week with him coming back. I did want to bring up before we go to break here this comment from Kenneth McNair. One, I don't get Steelers fans sometimes. Would you rather us go 10-7 and have those 13-10 games like the last 5 years, or have an evolving offense and the D is a little bit inconsistent through October? We wanted change. Like, I kind of agree with this. I think that my biggest takeaway from the Thursday night game wasn't that the defense was bad in that game. It wasn't that they lost that game. That's what they do on Thursday Night Football on the road. It's just what they do. My biggest takeaway is this offense is good when it's supposed to be good, and it does different things that are like he said, evolving and on the cutting edge a little bit here too. Nobody's running an offense like the Steelers, and the Steelers are doing it really well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the offense has been a revelation, and a lot of that can be attributed. I think Arthur Smith's had a massive second-year jump here. He's kind of got some guys in, and obviously the quarterback suits the way he wants to play football a bit better, being able to throw to all portions of the field, which is just huge. Where last year we didn't have the middle of the field, even if people were wide open. So I think Arthur Smith, I think just as a bit of a going on a tangent here, I think the fact that he's in head coach discussions for Tennessee, it's not a coincidence. It's not just because he's been there in the past. Like, he's actually done an outstanding job with this unit. And he's been very creative with the jumbo packages and getting tight ends involved. So I think the offense, revelation. And when you think about the Bengals matchup that the Steelers had, I understand the frustration, but he's right that we want to change, and we got change in the secondary. The Steelers took a swing, bringing in Jalen Ramsey, Darius Slay. Like, they had a crack at it. Maybe this is an anomaly that they get blown away like this, and we'll see in a couple of weeks' time when they play the Bengals again. But I think fans were crying out for change, and Omar Khan kind of offered it. So we'll see how it goes through the rest of the season.
Yeah, the one thing about Rodgers that I think is super fun for Arthur Smith is, like, Arthur Smith had two quarterbacks last year where it was one or two things or nothing from those guys. With Fields, it was downfield passing or like check downs and running, right? Those were the things you could access from Justin Fields. With Russell Wilson, it was the moon balls or the check downs. That was it. That was all you could access there. And it worked for a little bit when teams were like, okay, how do we transition to stopping these types of players that the Steelers have? They figured it out, and the Steelers had no counter because they couldn't access any other types of throws. Aaron Rodgers can access 4 or 5 different types of throws. He's got the downfield outside the numbers completion. He's got the checkdowns. He's got the back shoulder slot fades. He's got the seam balls over the middle to the tight ends. He can hit those crossers with anticipation, and he can see defenses before they develop the pre-snap and hit those. So he just allows you to access so much more as an offense, and it really feels like Arthur Smith's been able to open it up because of that. Philosophically, there are some things that I still have issue with. I think when the Steelers get up, when they get a lead, they take the foot off the gas pedal on both sides of the ball. And that to me is a problem. This isn't the same NFL as it used to be. And Mike Tomlin, he grew up in the NFL in an era where if you got a 2-score lead, it was over. The game was over if you were past the second quarter, right? Now you can have a 2-score lead with 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and that lead is not safe. Mm-hmm. It is not safe. You cannot just take your foot off the gas pedal. You can't quit going for the jugular. So philosophically, there's some issues here that I still have with how they attack, but when it comes to like the play calling, the design of the offense, and what Rodgers has helped them access the run game, I could not be more excited about where it's at right now, to Kenneth's point and to the point of what you were saying as well.
Yeah, I think just quickly, the one thing that really sticks out to me about what Aaron's has also brought to that quarterback position was when he was talking about what he saw potentially in the first half on that Pat Frymouth touchdown on 3rd and 19 or whatever it was. That he saw something in the second quarter or so on a similar play that if he was to get the same kind of look, he knew where he was going with the ball. Those are the kind of like informations that we haven't heard about quarterbacks since Ben, being able to kind of make that analysis in game, and then not just make the analysis, but actually act on it and execute. Yeah. So that was one of the kind of the coolest things I heard coming out of that Bengals game and kind of all season in terms of what Aaron Rodgers brings to that offense.
Absolutely. All right, let's take a quick break for the audio listeners, and then when we come back, we will talk more Steelers. We will give our thoughts and predictions for the upcoming game a little bit, and then if you got any questions in the chat, let us know. We'll hit those and more when we come back right after this. All right, welcome back to our live show, the Steel Curtain Network's Steelers Q&A here on Saturday night as we prep for Sunday Night Football this week. And I wanted to look, Archie, while we're looking for questions and things like that here. Let's see. I wanted to bring up a comment from Steeler Chick 46. She mentions Bengals game we missed Minka. Minka seemed to hold Chase in check. I wanted to get your thoughts on this because the moves that the Steelers made obviously were to bring in guys who they thought could man up on some of these better receivers, specifically Jalen Ramsey, right? You think Jalen Ramsey and Joey Porter Jr., if you've got 2 really good receivers that you can just man up on and lock down, that's what these guys are for. But does she have a point? Like, did Minka scare teams enough with what he did over the middle of the field specifically to where we missed him against a Bengals team that just slanted the heck out of the Steelers all game long this week?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I'm not sure how much or adding a safety of Minka's caliber would have changed the way that the Bengals were picking the Steelers apart, because it was just happening so fast. It was happening after the catch. And I think a lot of teams, even when Minka were there, they were just throwing away from him. And there was a lot of slants that Jamar Chase was winning on, but there was also a lot of comebacks on the outside. There was a lot of speed out. So Flacco just knows where to attack this defense. So obviously the personnel when it came to man, they didn't win their battle, but whatever the plan was early doors, schematically, it didn't work. And then whenever they try to throw a band-aid at it with something slightly different, it almost felt gone. Like Joe Flacco was seeing the field so well. Jamar Chase was just unbelievable in the routes he was running. So they just got into form. I was listening to a podcast earlier in the week, and it's just like when Steph Curry he gets hot. He's not going to miss it. Doesn't matter what you throw at him,
Yep.
no matter where he is on the court. It kind of got to that point where by the time that the Steelers had changed their schematics to maybe something that could suit stopping Jamar and T Higgins a bit better, they were already red hot form. So
Yep.
I don't think much is going to change.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's just the avalanche of everything that you didn't want for a Thursday night matchup. First of all, it's Thursday night. Second of all, it's a division matchup. Third, it's on the road. Fourth, it's the quarterback is traded to this team the week before this game happens, and it just happens to be the quarterback that's played against Mike Tomlin the most in the league. And it just so happens that it's a guy who likes to get the ball out of his hands quickly to receivers who are going to be open because that's the type of players they are. Jake Browning wasn't doing that. He wanted the play to develop too much. He wanted to hit these guys down the field. He didn't trust what he saw. Joe Flacco's going to do that. He hasn't seen anything, or he hasn't not seen it all, right, in the league. So I think that played into it. It was just an avalanche of bad things for the Steelers here. Okay, we've got Pittsburgh Toddy. Should Eccles get more snaps than Slay? This is a fun question for me because I really like what Eccles has done. I think the assignments that Slay has taken on throughout the season have led more to like the stats where he's given up 20 receptions for whatever it was, like 200 yards and 3 touchdowns on the season. I think that's because he's the guy that they pick on because they don't want to go out Jalen Ramsey and they don't want to go out Joey Porter Jr. when they have it, if they have the chance to, or the opportunity to go a different way. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Eccles would be a superb upgrade over him, but it is at least intriguing because he has played well in spot duties. But your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think it's kind of just comes down to what you're running schematically. I think Slay, he's obviously been around the block so many times. He's seen everything like Joe Flacco, but sometimes he can't quite pull off what he can see and what he wants to be able to do just because of the waning athleticism. I mean, he's still obviously got the brain for the game, but in terms of being in man coverage with some of these elite receivers, he's just struggling to stay in front of them. So
yeah,
can you get him in some more zone heavy looks where he can kind of play what's in front of him and use his instincts? That'd be great. And maybe Brandon Eccles, just because he's a bit younger, he's still got all his athleticism there. He might be able to run with some of the players a bit better. And I mean, we saw that a couple reps. I think he had Jamar Chase once or twice, and he won those reps kind of down the sideline with him just because he was able to stay with him in terms of an athletic standpoint. So, yeah, I can't see why not. Just give him a few more opportunities, but we'll see.
We will see. I think one other thing that the Steelers could do in the secondary is instead of making Ramsey their travel guy, because that's kind of what it turned into on Thursday night, is like Ramsey was just kind of traveling with Chase or Higgins, like whichever one it seemed like was on the was given the one-on-one opportunity. It was Ramsey doing the coverage there. I think you give that to Joey Porter Jr. And you let Ramsey stay more around the line of scrimmage. Look at what he did to the Browns. And look at what he did. Was the Browns the game right before the Bengals?
Yeah,
no.
Browns. Yep.
Yeah,
that was straight off the bye, and then Vikings before that.
What he did against Cleveland and what he did against Minnesota around the line of scrimmage it's special stuff still. That's where you utilize him the best. And now that you've got JPJ back, put him on those lockdown one-on-one assignments he's going to get flagged a couple times. It's just going to happen. But he also made more plays than Ramsey did against the Bengals as well. He was kind of boomer bust with him, whereas Ramsey, it was just all bust on the outside. So I think at this stage of his career, Ramsey does not need to be the guy that you are putting on the single receiver side of the formation in true one-on-one lockdown type stuff. That needs to be Joey Porter Jr., in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you're right. The Joey Porter discourse that I've seen kind of through social media and in the fan base, it does kind of baffle me. Like, I understand he's still got some of the issues where he gets a bit handsy every now and again, but some of the flags on Thursday Night Football and those pass
Oh my
interference,
goodness, you're right.
they were tough watches, honestly.
Egregious.
I don't know what they could do differently, and even the Jamar Chase touchdown on Jalen Ramsey, I don't know how that's not offensive pass interference, but
Yeah.
regardless. Joey, I think he was pretty hard done by on the losses that he had, and he's been pretty unreal in terms of man coverage snaps when he's been given the chance. So I think, yeah, you're right. He definitely is the guy that travels, especially on the outside with these athletic receivers, just because he offers that length that they can struggle to get off the line just because he can get to them first. So
yeah,
I agree with that. And then Jalen Ramsey, you've got to use him as the chess piece because that's what he is at this stage of his career. Just move him around and cause confusion for the quarterbacks of what's Jalen going to do. Make him kind of a mystery and in that kind of sense, and just see what happens.
Right. And the beauty of the NFL and the Steelers situation, they don't have to play Jamar Chase and T. Higgins every week, right? This week against the Packers have good receivers, but you don't have to be like, okay, we have to stop this guy, or else. You can kind of sit back in your defensive plan on your sides and let it happen, let it come to you, and just let the guys make plays where they're at. But I think that you're going to have to make some adjustments down the road as more of these teams with like elite receivers come into town, and you have to make those plays. So the Steelers do have their work cut out for them. I'm not coming out of this game saying I think that they're fine on defense. They have no issues there. They do have some issues that they've got to work out, but I think it was overblown how bad they were this last week because of all the circumstances going along with that. Let's see here. I did want to get to this. Well, first let's pull this up. Mark Cunningham, fellas, slowing down Josh Jacobs is the key to a bounce back performance defensively, in my opinion. You guys agree? We talked about it a little bit earlier in the show. Mark, I think before you got in here, that is absolutely key. Number one here is stopping Josh Jacobs. Everything that Terrell Austin said against the Bengals, where it's like, yeah, we didn't stop the run, and that totally changed our game plan. I don't know how much I buy it because Jamar Chase and T. Higgins were murdering you from snap one of that game. This game, you have to stop the run. Absolutely. So Archie, you and I are on the same page about that one for sure. I wanted to kind of widen this out here before we get out of here. And I don't know if you heard this, Archie, but Lamar Jackson is out. He's been downgraded to out for this game against the Bears tomorrow. I don't think the Ravens win this game. I was concerned about them going into it, even with Lamar playing potentially. Mm-hmm. And there was always a chance in my mind that Lamar didn't play based on some of the reporting out there. Now that he's actually going to be on the sidelines and you have to play Tyler Huntley again, I think the Ravens fall to 1-6.
Yeah,
I think they do. I think that the defense will be a little bit more game this week because they've got some of their stars back, healthy on that side of the ball. But they weren't very good before, even with those guys in there. So that's huge. If the Ravens fall to 1-6, I don't know if that's a mountain you can overcome. The Steelers would have to lose this game. The Bengals would have to lose to the Jets this week. But 1-6, man, you have zero margin for error the rest of the way. You have 2 losses left, or you're staring at a losing season. So that's just tough. That's tough. You got 2 games against the Steelers left. You got another game against the Bengals left. You've got not the Bills. I can't remember who it is. They've got a couple other AFC teams that they've got to get through. I think the Colts are still on the schedule for them.
Right.
So you've got some tough games coming up, but that's huge, right? And I think that right now for me, the team, if I'm Pittsburgh, that I need to watch out for, it's the Bengals, if I'm being honest, in the division.
Yeah, absolutely. That whole whatever happened this week with the injury report and the Ravens was just so bizarre. Like, I don't
And
even know how to
really,
get
really
into it. It
bad
was
timing with all the
terrible
NBA stuff
timing.
going on
Yeah,
too. Yeah.
yeah. It just was so strange. But you're right, Lamar. He's the key to the team, and he's always going to be being the franchise quarterback. But the way that they've kind of crumbled without him, in a way that they've are they 1-6 right now, or is it 1-5?
5 right now. If they
Yeah,
lose to the Bears, they're 1-6.
yeah, and the Bears are playing some winning football. I know it's not super pretty because Caleb enjoys to play hero ball every now and again, and
Yeah.
they're still ironing out a few things with a rookie head coach, an experienced quarterback, and a few different changes that they had, but they're winning games. So I think the Bears kind of have what it takes to, obviously, with Lamar out, to make that one. Another loss for the Ravens, but you're right in terms of the Browns. They're not going to offer anything in the division anymore in terms of standings or the title. So Ravens lose tomorrow. It's a 2-horse race in my mind, as you said.
Yeah. And the Steelers need to stay on top of it. They really do. Falling to 4-3 this week would be less than ideal. It really would. Because then you've got the Colts next week. You got the Chargers the week after that. Then you got the Bengals the week after that. And that's tough 3 games. This is a tough 4-game stretch. I'm pretty confident that the Steelers will come out of it with a decent record. But I did say that the 4-game stretch after the bye, I felt was a 2-2 stretch for the Steelers in one way or the other. Like you beat the Browns. So far, I'm 2 for 2 on it. Beat the Browns, lose to the Bengals. I said that they'll beat the Packers and lose to the Colts because the Colts kind of have their number under Shane Steichen recently. And so I don't know if that's how it plays out. But I felt like this 4-game stretch coming off the bye was a 2-2 stretch. You got to do a little bit better than that, probably beyond the Colts game, right? You've got to win. You got to beat the Chargers. You got to beat the Bengals on the second game. You can't get swept by the Bengals,
100%.
right? That would make me very nervous.
Yeah, and another one of those games, because the Steelers do have the the Bills on the schedule, I believe.
They do. Yep, they have the Bills on the schedule.
Preseason, that was one of those games that you think, oh, okay, well, that's probably going to be a loss there. But that's another game that you can kind of look at now and think, well, maybe down the line, the Bills are kind of there to be had a little bit. So there's definitely opportunities for the Steelers. They just can't shoot themselves in the foot. They've got to stay on schedule, not just during games, but in terms of just keep stacking wins where they can and not losing in any opportunities where they should be winning, which has kind of been an Achilles heel for the Steelers in recent seasons.
Right. I mean, so you've got Green Bay this week. You got Indianapolis after that. And then the next 4 games are Chargers, Bengals, Bears, Bills. I think you need to go 3-1 in that stretch if you want to be considered a real AFC contender. And your loss can't be to the Bengals. Can't be to the Bengals.
No.
If you're going to lose one of those games, you probably want it to be Chicago because that's the NFC team and wouldn't really matter. You want to beat the Bills. You want to beat the Chargers. You want to beat the Bengals, obviously. But I don't know. This stretch of the season, right? Especially when you lose to the Bengals, it gets a little bit murkier when you talk about Green Bay, Indy, LA, Cincy, Chicago, Buffalo, Baltimore, all in a row.
Yeah.
Spicy.
Yeah, there's certainly no gimmies. That's for sure.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. Hey, good stuff tonight. Great show. Lots of fun. I picked on Jeff's Let's Ride, and then I put it in for the article that's going to run Sunday morning for the staff picks. I think the Steelers win this game by double digits. I think it's a 28-17 game. That's my pick. That's my score prediction. So I'm pretty confident in it. I think that this matchup is a good one for the Steelers, and I think that they're going to be motivated to rebound after Thursday night. Aaron Rodgers' revenge factor. I mean, he's gonna like talk it down all week, right? He's been doing it all week. He's like, nah, I have no bad vibes there. Come on, this is Aaron Rodgers we're talking about, okay? Mr. Grudge himself, and he's going to come in and want to show the guys, like, you know what? Jordan Love, I get it. He's a good quarterback, but y'all could have kept me, and we'd have been fine. We'd have been fine until now. So he's going to want to go out there and prove that. I think he probably does.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if there's no bad blood between him and the franchise, which I doubt there is, because it was pretty, it was a pretty modest and kind of mutual split towards there at the end. He's still going to want this one. He's one of the most competitive guys in the league, probably ever. So he's certainly going to want one of these, or this one, tomorrow. So I haven't got round to my pick for the article. I'm going to do that as soon as we finish up here. But as I said, I also thought there could be 4 touchdowns for the Steelers. So we might be talking fairly similar predictions here.
Yeah. All right. Good deal, man. Check out that article tomorrow morning if you guys want to see all of our picks. And then, I'm sure you'll be on Twitter as the game's going. I'll be on Twitter. So hit us up there. You can follow me at the Bets93. Archie, tell them where they can follow you on X as well. And we'll get out of here.
Yeah. I think I'm _Steelers, I believe. On Twitter, and other than that, just keep an eye out on Steel Curtain Network. Me and Betts will have articles coming out. I think, Betts, you've got articles for some different places as well, so there's plenty to sink your teeth into, I suppose.
Plenty to read, plenty to follow. We'll have it all for you on Steel Curtain Network. Thank you all for hopping in on the show. Archie, thanks for joining.